After Adam and Eve get kicked out of the Garden of Eden, their story sort of becomes a complete mystery to us. See, the Bible doesn't explain what happens immediately after this. So my question is, what was life like after the garden? Well, there is actually this ancient book called the Book of Adam and Eve. It's not scripture, but it's the story which recounts the very fall of man. And interestingly, God had actually commanded them to live in this cave. It was called the Cave of Treasures. But once they get to the exit gate of the garden, Adam and Eve take a good look outside to see their new home before immediately fainting. See, this was the very first time they had seen anything other than the garden. So when they see just how rough the outside world really is, they both fall flat on their face. But this is where it gets super interesting, because of course, God then wakes them up and sends them back on their way. But the minute they enter this gloomy cave, it would finally dawn on them. Adam and Eve had never seen darkness before. This was the very first time they had experienced it. So when nightfall arrives, they actually stay up all night, bitterly crying. Adam and Eve were afraid of the dark. But here's what just blows my mind, because further down in the story, it actually reveals that both Adam and Eve used to glow with light. See, they were afraid of the darkness because their very nature was light itself. But after they sinned, that nature was taken away from them. Now, of course, this is just a story, but conveniently, scientists have discovered that humans do actually produce light. It's even common knowledge that humans right now have this slight bioluminescence. It's almost as if Adam and Eve's light was rather dimmed than extinguished. After all, God always had a plan to bring them back into the garden.